Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Youth Impact, where we are not just talking about growing up, we are growing up talking. And of course, this has been brought to you by Success Africa, a Pan-African media digital organization that focuses on the success stories of Africans from and around Africa. My name is Derek Wesley. And not to forget our gracious hosts, which is Convent International Hotel, Given to Hospitality, and of course your best conferencing partners. Volunteerism and community service has become part of life. Success Africa went out to the streets to find out whether our youths are interested in volunteering and community service. And this is what they had to say.
Hello, so probably you can tell us your name and what you do.
Hi, my name is Josephine. I'm a full-time student at KCA.
Okay, so our first question of the day is: have you ever volunteered, and what was the end product or what was the impact in your life?
Okay, yes, I've volunteered. I went to this charity drive with our church, Upper Hill Don Bosco, and the impact I would say, I number one I can say I felt that there's need to appreciate everything you have, and I felt happy seeing the children happy, and yeah.
My name is Washuka. I'm a student at KCA University pursuing business IT.
Okay, so this is Washuka and she's a student. The question of the day is: you can tell us if you've ever volunteered and what was the impact in your life after that.
Yes, I have volunteered severally in like children's home, and I, I think like interacting with the kids and seeing the humble life and the background they have helps me appreciate how I grew up and learn to appreciate what I have, and it makes me happy seeing them happy. Like we bring them like happiness, like helping them out, giving them food. They are happy, so it makes me happy as well. Yeah.
So thank you. That's wonderful.
My name is Christopher. I'm currently a student at UON.
So we are here to get the views of the youth on volunteering. Have you ever volunteered?
Personally, no, I've never.
Okay, what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, volunteering is a part-time activity in which somebody fully commits themselves, but I've never managed to get a hold of my time to do it and get around with such activities.
Oh, but can you do it if you have the chance?
Yeah, when I have a chance, maybe I can give it a shot. It doesn't seem so bad because also it can be part of charitable events, which is giving back to the community.
Joining us on set today is former Miss World Kenya 2021 second runners-up, Mary Mwihaki. She's also the founder of Smile Child Organization. Mary,
yes.
Karibu.
Asante sana.
I hear you prefer being called
Mwihaki.
Mwihaki.
You're right.
Or daughter of God, child of God.
Child of God would do. And I would say reason why Mwihaki, like if I walk and I hear someone calling me Mary, I'd know they know me from 5 years ago. So for me, calling myself Mwihaki became baptism to a new me. So yeah,
so that is what cues you in.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. And also thank you for the beautiful shirt. You're the first guest who has actually brought a present for the host.
Wow, and you're looking good. I was like, oh my God, I should have also put on something, but you're looking good in it already.
It's white and I'm dark, so it really helps. So, because you're talking of volunteerism, personally, the closest I've come to being a volunteer is back in primary when I was volunteering for a food competition, which of course I did not win. But you've been you've been in this space for quite some time. So you can tell us what inspired you to become a volunteer and somebody who is engaging in community service.
Wow, that's wonderful. So that would be a question I would answer in a way of talking about purpose. I think when you are a volunteer, without even knowing the word, you're already doing something. So volunteering to me is living a purpose other than yourself, like serving humanity, which I believe is our purpose on earth. We live in a world where we get caught up with careers, with ambitions, with immediate family. But the true fulfillment, apart from all these other things, come from just being able to help someone who's not in a position to help themselves. And that's why we say making the world a better place.
So how has volunteering and community service actually impacted your life personally? Because for you to reach a level where you're developing your organization personally, and we're also going to talk about it, it has to have impacted you because you started from somewhere. So what impact has it had in your life?
Wow. So I started volunteering as a kid. It would be to babysit other people's children. It would be to see children happy and knowing what was disturbing them even as a child. So that is something I carried on. I didn't even know it was any part of volunteering, but it became part of me. Like even when I went to campus, when I started the organization, it became more of talking to people. For example, I find out what you love. Maybe we love the same thing. I used to love going to children homes, so that's how I even started to just go and help out children and just be there for them. And you know, in this life, I know and have learned so much that no man is an island. You need someone else. So even if you have a dream, you can't do it alone. So I had to do it with friends. So for me, it has been extremely fulfilling because I have learned to live for others, and it makes me so happy. Because when you live for yourself, you go to work, you get your money, you pay your rent, repeat, right? But seeing someone else smile for that which you'd have ignored. For example, I'd give an impact of how much 100 shillings can do to a street kid. That's money you can buy fries, you go home, sit, eat, and that's done. But just giving out a hand to that kid and seeing the smile they have on their face, appreciating you, you might think you've given them a million. So for me, that has become my passion, to see someone else benefit from the little resource I have. Yeah.
So maybe you'll tell us the reason why your organization has to be called Smile. Because like somebody can just sit down and smile. So are we coming to smile, or what are we coming to do when you're part of Smile Child?
So Smile Child is a children's organization, children's rights and welfare organization. I think a smile represents happiness. And when someone is faking a smile, you will know. So for us, Smile Child organization is about putting happiness to children's faces in a genuine way. Because I wouldn't say even one of the most, the honest people on earth are children. If they are sad, you will know. If they're happy, they know. And if they're contented, you will also know. So Smile Child is just about making the world a better place through giving back and putting smiles on faces.
So because we've heard from the streets what people think about volunteering and community service, maybe because you've been part of this, what advice would you give to someone who is interested? Because generally most of the youths, they live for themselves, and you've said you're supposed to live for others.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a youth who's interested in joining maybe the space that you're in?
I would say let's stop being selfish and let's stop having a scarcity mentality. Like what I said earlier on, the little money you have, it could be 20 shillings. This is something that can impact someone's life. So that is something I have learned, that the little I have, like even on my way here, I was passing by the supermarket to get something to eat, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is I met street kids there. I was just going for one thing and then I met them there. And because I had been part of taking one of them home, they know me. So how would I go in and come out with just whatever I had gone in for? So I have this mentality that money is paper. The more you hold on to it, the less you will get. The more you give, not mismanage, the more you give towards making the world a better place, more comes to you. So to anyone who'd want to be a volunteer, I would say, know your purpose, and true living is living for yourself and others.
So I've actually gotten an opportunity to walk in the streets, and you've also mentioned quite a lot about street children, and this is Youth Impact, and our business is basically the youths.
Yeah.
And seeing a street kid who is a youth, and we're saying this is somebody whose life fully depends on him, and also for future generations. And you've mentioned about the street kid, whatever. What are you doing in terms of rehabilitating? Do you have like a program that accommodates them?
Yes, we have an outreach program for street children. One thing I would really encourage people to stop assuming that whatever you think someone needs is what they need. what I have learned, which has taken me time to learn, is when you go in, you just want to buy them food, they get out of your face, right? So the street kids I was also talking today, two were 17, one was 18. That's an adult in literal sense, yeah? Even them in the streets, they mature faster. So identifying their needs, because when you start having a conversation with them, you will know they just don't want the food. Some don't even have a way of going back home. And I have learned through the hard way, like I was supposed to help one child and he died in the process of helping him. So I challenged myself to not take so much time when I see a need. So the next child I met, I asked him, what do you want? I was so surprised. He said, I want to go home. Where's home, Murang'a? Murang'a is just here, you see? And you asked me an important question as we were starting. I would say the most important resource is not money. It's human resource. When you have people that believe in a dream and when you have people that see the impact of what you're doing, so that is how we were able to take that child from the street to Murang'a. And that child calls me to date, like every day. You ask him, what do you want? You know, normally when someone calls you, they need something. That is the world we live in, right? But when he calls me, he's more of, I just want to check up on you, you know. The mother calls me, the father calls me, you see. So that shows you it was a small gesture for us to just remove the kid from the street to home. But it meant the world to the family that they were able to reunite. So even the ones have been able to meet, what most want to go home. That is what they really want.
That is all they want.
To just go home.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for doing that also.
Yeah.
I believe the family is quite good. And that takes me to my next question. As a volunteer and somebody who is taking part in community service, which of course I'll consider after this interview, what benefit do I get? Because volunteering is basically giving your all without expecting anything in return. So is there anything that I get to benefit as a volunteer and as somebody who is part of the community service?
Wow. You know, the world we live in is quick come, quick go. We want fast things. If it's even your work, you want fast promotion, you know. But one thing about volunteering, I believe in like reflex action. Like whatever you do, whatever you put your hands on, it will just come back to you. If you're living for yourself, you live for yourself forever. So, for example, if even people start organizations to get money, you know, with the wrong mindsets, but if you are volunteering genuinely, what you have to gain is fulfillment. And fulfillment to me is not about how much money you have, but it's about how happy you are. Because when you're happy, money comes. You know, money just comes. So if you're volunteering, don't have monetary mindset, like just have, I would say, an innocent heart of working on your selfishness, of being able to expound your boundary from just you, Wesley, to about what also Mwihaki needs. And also, people have different versions of volunteering. Some can be physical volunteering. For example, I would talk of Smile Child, where you can volunteer emotionally, like just sitting and listening to someone. Do you know, like some people just want someone to talk to. So volunteering is just not about giving your money. I would say the biggest impact of volunteering is giving your time.
Giving your time. Well, that was beautiful. If there's something I'm taking from this first session is that if you want to have money, you need to be happy.
Yeah.
And also, volunteering is not about how much you give financially, but it really depends with a lot of things.
Yes.
Well, so that is all we had for the first session. We are taking a short break, and when we come back, we get more from Mwihaki. Welcome back to Youth Impact. We are still at Convent International Hotel, which is, of course, your ideal conferencing partners. Now, Mwihaki, thank you for staying put. Now, my next question would be, how can young people make, because you've already told us how to be part of it, now how can we make a difference? Because there's a big difference between just being part of it and making a difference while you're at it. So how can we make a difference while we are volunteering?
I'll say, in Smile Child we say, changing the world one smile at a time. So making a difference to me is about the small impact you make, because our mentality usually wants more and more and more and more bigger. If it's not bigger, it's not better for you. But for example, if you're a youth and want to get into volunteering, how you get to make impact is by seeing one life transform, and also not doing it alone, because anytime you get to do anything alone, you get frustrated, you get tired. So being part of a group, when you're part of a group, it's just like maybe education. We have departments. Maybe if someone is in campus, there's education, business. So identify what your interest is, and whatever your interest is, there's already a group doing it. And if there's no group doing it, you yourself can be the initiator, of doing whatever you want to do.
So you form the group.
You form the group.
Wow.
Yes.
Ah, that's good. You say changing the world one smile at a time. I think I saw that on my sheet. I would have shown you, but maybe I'll do that before we end. And so, because it's a broad topic, as you've mentioned, and I believe the fact that you're working with different people who have different interests, there has to be challenges, and of course how to go about the challenges. Now, because we are starting from scratch and we're advising the youth who want to be part of this, because you've been part of it, what are some of the challenges that you go through in volunteering and community service?
The biggest challenge in volunteering is resources, right? Sometimes you can have a dream, but to push the dream, you need money in the world we live in. Not so many people these days, you can walk into an office and say, oh, I have a passion for this. No one wants to listen to you. It's about what you're bringing to the table, right? And you see, most of the time, charity work is quote unquote money people have separated from their needs, like they have fulfilled their needs, and then that is extra money, some extra cash. But I would say, for example, for someone who's starting an initiative and something they love doing, they shouldn't have the monetary perspective. For me, the biggest resource, as I mentioned earlier, is human resource. So if you're starting something and you need a psychologist, why don't you talk to a friend who's a psychologist for you guys to be in the same team? Because if you don't do that, if you rely on quote unquote the just professional aspect, you'll just end up maybe using a lot of money. You have to know what is in your circle, what can you reach, and if your friend doesn't have it, I promise you a friend of a friend has it. And then one thing, never get tired talking about what you're doing, because we live in a world where there's social media, there's everything. So you have to stay on toes on talking and not also getting tired. Yeah.
You mentioned that using what you have at first, and I remembered back in high school when our motivational speakers used to come and somebody said, I started my butchery business with a photo of meat.
With a photo of meat,
exactly. Which is actually, when you grow up, you get to realize that it means they didn't literally like have just a photo, but it means it is something that you've developed interest for quite some time, which is a very good thing to do. Now, my question, the volunteering and community service is good, but if you do not have a good foundation, then it might not really work. For you, you started as when you're very young and you used to go to the children homes, and most of the people we are addressing today are youths, and we'd say these are people who are still in the school setup. Would you say that there's a way through which schools can actually be part in mentoring people who are interested in doing the community service and volunteering?
Yeah, of course, of course. Okay, I'd like to start by appreciating universities, because there's already organizations like Red Cross running. I also find that these religion things, maybe for example, if it's the CU, if it's the Muslim community, they have their own community outreach program they have organized. So I can say that is good work, but I feel like they should be a separate entity where, because that teaches more than just volunteering. It teaches life skills of which you can use them like outside when you're done with school. So they can have a different department where it's just about people who love giving back to the community. Because one of the key challenges we are facing as a generation is suicide, depression. But if you come to a community where people love living for other people, it's so hard for you to get lost while in the midst of them. Yeah.
That's good. And because social media is part of the technology that we have access to, and I believe at Smile Child you've also gotten to use it, how impactful is social media, and how can we use it also to promote volunteering and community service?
You remind me of the question of the debates, is social media good or bad? You know, I would say it depends with how you're using it, right? So as I mentioned earlier, it's about how you put your work out there. So, for example, if you want to volunteer, if you want to be part of a volunteering group, or if you want to start something in volunteerism, start researching about it, start speaking about it. One of the key skills you can do for yourself is to get, for example, even programs you can do. For example, I believe like as youths, as leaders, as young people, you can't just reason with your heart, you know. Your heart is so emotional. You need your mind to be rational. So you get opportunities where you get skills. These days there are so many skills, even online free skills. So, and then when you do them, you put them on social media so that the world knows what you are doing, and then they can be part of your story.
That's good. Now, to my very last question to you. The question is, what are some of the most rewarding experiences you've had while volunteering, and why are they so meaningful to you?
The most rewarding ones I would say is to see a kid in a children's home call me mom.
Wow.
And they believe I'm their mom. That they ask, Mom, you didn't come the other time. You're like, oh, even my mind wasn't there that particular time, you know. So I think that is really rewarding. To see the street kid keeps calling me every time, like, I think they need something, but they don't need anything. They just want to know how I'm doing, you know. Like there was a time I was even unwell, and they called me the following day very early in the morning to ask me how I was doing. These are people I don't know. These are people I've met maybe countable times. But also the good part is also when people see the passion in you, they join you. So I have been able to keep the fire burning within myself, that I have grown a community of fellow volunteers where we reason together and reach out to the community. But the A or B of it, the rewarding part is the free travels I have gotten.
Wow. Free
Yeah,
travels.
you know, to gain skills, to be part of conferences. And I think my highlights was when I went to Rwanda to do empowerment self-defense. And I was so surprised. Is it because of that idea I just have that could get me to an opportunity where I go and learn something and come and teach vulnerable people self-defense skills? And then also, I think recently I got an opportunity to go to Thailand to be part of a conference where we're talking about sexual reproductive health in youth, in adolescents, you know, to be part of world discussions, and also doing leadership programs. And now planning to visit the US on a leadership program I did, and apparently I stood out because of Smile Child organization. So those are really rewarding for me, and they give me motivation to be better.
Wow, that is a lot of opportunity. But it's also amazing that you're getting all these opportunities because you've actually decided to live for other people and not for yourself.
Yeah.
Wow, that is beautiful. Now, looking at that camera, I believe maybe you can give us your parting shot. Tell the youth something that they can carry home.
Okay, I want you to know you are enough, you're capable, and you can do whatever you can put your hands and mind on. Do not look at the resources you have. Look at the passion, the dream that is in you. The moment you focus on it, everything around you is going to work for your good. So keep going, and you got this.
Well, that was beautiful. Thank you for joining us on set. And I believe if there's one thing I'm taking home is that volunteers do not necessarily have the time.
Yeah.
All they do is they have the heart and the urge to reach out to other people who are not in the same spaces as they are. So thank you so much for being part of Youth Impact, and for showing us that actually without volunteering and giving your life for other people, you might not really make an impact. And that is what purpose also means. So thank you so much. And I believe next time we'll still have you. You're somebody who's so hard to get, of course. And when you go to the USA, make sure that you represent the youth so well, so that we also get the interest to be part of the spaces that you're actually occupying.
Okay, thank you too for having me. It's been an interesting conversation.
Thank you so much. Well, after that lovely conversation with the Smile Child Mwihaki, it is high time to go to the next segment, which is the Youth of the Week. If there is one thing I've always hated, is doing dishes after my meals. And lo and behold, we are looking at Cheryl Mboya, who has made an amazing innovation, which is plates that you can eat. Let us take a look at what she has to say.
I'm Cheryl Mboya. I'm an innovator a patent holder, an environmentalist, climate change enthusiast, and the managing director at Green Excel Mechanics. We are an innovation and technology developer where we basically develop innovations, and currently we are working on 6, including Snackit, the edible tableware. So what inspired, the edible tableware was I wanted to be able to develop an alternative to single-use plastics, given how much or the amount of plastics that are consumed globally and consequently result in plastic wastes, which has also led us to the current climatic crisis we're in. Currently, the major achievements we are facing is that we have just wrapped up the prototype stage and we are now embarking into the mass production of the product. Okay, so currently this is one of the plates we made. This is a plate that was made from a mold from one of the plates that is used during in-flight meal service at the Kenya Airways planes. And it's made using just normal flour and a few other ingredients, together with the key technology that we have protected it intellectually using IP law. In terms of safety, we are currently working towards getting the necessary certifications, such as the Food Handler Certificate, the KEBS standardization mark, so that once we roll out into the market, it will be safe for consumption. But most importantly is that it's during the concept stage, you are able to establish that it's safe to be consumed by the entire ecosystem, basically by all living organisms. So after finishing your meal, you can be able to eat it. If not, you can throw it away, and it biodegrades within 5 days, and plants can consume it, animals can eat it, and also fishes can eat it alike. It also has a shelf life of about 6 months to a year. And right now we are working towards getting all the packaging details together with completely eradicating plastic packaging, because once we roll out into the market, it will be completely plastic free, including the packaging it comes with. The major challenge we're facing is in terms of the lack of manufacturers in Kenya. We do not have a wider manufacturing base in Kenya, so most of our ingredients are shipped into the country. So once we establish local producers of the ingredients we use, then we hope to also lower the price. So in the next 5 years, I really want to be able to see several of my innovations out there. With regard to Snackit, the edible tableware, I'd really hope to see it not only being used within the Kenyan environment, but also within the African continent. I'll have to, encourage innovators and creatives, and majorly Kenyan youths, to just get up and, tap into their creative mindsets, their talents, because we need to, with the current unemployment crisis we're facing, it's time that we move towards self-reliance. The other thing I'll also recommend is that we should be able to protect our intellectual property. Our ideas. These are ideas which we develop, very rigorously. So we really need to protect them. You need to protect your ideas. It's a fruit of your mind. It's a labor of your mind. The other thing I'd also encourage is the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. There's so many talented youths out there. Despite them not having come out, we need to have more capacity building programs to be able to tap into these particular talents we have.
Thank you for tuning in to Youth Impact. And of course, our special gratitude goes to Convent International Hotel, your ideal conferencing partners. You can check out on their websites to see on all the facilities that they have to offer. I have been your lovely host, and as always we say, stay curious and keep making a difference. Until next time, adios.